Animal Crossing New Horizons, Stardew Valley, Rune Factory 4. These games have developed quite the cult following, some mainstream following, and even more exposure than usual during the joy that is 2020. Maybe you've played one or more and have some interest in one of the others. Maybe you haven't played any of them at all. Which one is right for you? They sometimes get mentioned together, but why? What flavor of relaxation are you looking for in your life sim type game? What is the big I don't like thing that you're waiting to jump all over? Let's find out. Animal Crossing New Horizons is the newest game in the series, and it's kinda hot right now. So hot right now. In case you missed that in 2020. It's the game that I'm currently playing the most of right now out of these three, and also the most current in this list. So let's start with that. Pay close attention to these little raccoons, or whatever they're supposed to be, and this little flower dance that they're performing for me right now. This is going to be a running theme, and I think it's going to come up again. See, what's happened here is they've convinced me to take them up on an island getaway to a brand new home. A paradise. Okay, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much of a paradise it is after I sort my face.
That face, that wonderful face.
Yeah, paradise, where I sleep in a tent, apparently. We've got some problems already. This bear is assuming all sorts of things, and quite frankly, in my personal space, when we have an entire goddamn island to ourselves. Thankfully, I can set the bear's tent as far away as possible, so there's something going right finally. Now it's party time! Finally! But, I'm the only person getting any supplies for the party, while everyone else just plays with their brooms. Problem. Thankfully, I have all these letters to choose from to help me decide the name of my island, but I can only use half of them. Thanks for that. Okay, finally settled, we're all ready to go, and it looks like I'm done having to do everything for everyone all the time, and I can party. But of course that means it's time for the other shoe to drop from this thieving Tom Nook over here. Now that I'm stuck here, with no way off, time to start charging me money. I'm stuck on this island right now. What am I gonna do? Say no? I can't, due to the implication. Call me crazy, but it seems like they're just casually slipping in that I'm in a huge amount of debt while I'm at a tent paradise here. And now I have to use their special app, which isn't sketchy at all. It's alright. My new life is now underway, and the dog that I thought was Krillin said to not play by anybody's rules. What should I do? In Animal Crossing, time flows in real time. Time flows in real time. So that means the fish and the bugs and things you catch, it's seasonal, just like the seasons that we are in right now. We're going to see more of this in Stardew Valley and Rune Factory, but this game is following our current seasons. That's pretty cool, I think. And as you catch all these creatures, you dig up some fossils, you're going to meet my man Blathers. His name is Blathers. He runs the museum. He is aptly named. Brah, I just want to give you the bones, brah. You don't have to give me the speech the entire time. Brah! There's other random visitors to meet as well. There's Gulliver here, who I am positive is getting thrown overboard by his own crew every time he falls asleep. And there's Spooky Ghost, who's more afraid of us than we are of them. You could help him out, and they could give you or mail you a reward. Nice. Thanks for this, bird. Thanks a lot. And the puns. We got to talk about them. There's a lot of puns, and not great. The question is, do they get so bad that it wraps all the way around and it gets good again?
Edit. No.
What goes better with the Jesus robe than some holy socks? There's a lot to enjoy about what's going on here. It's really rewarding to see your island slowly turn into something special that you've created yourself. Watching the shop expand or blowing all my money in the clothing shop, entirely too rewarding. Not to look, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna crack you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna learn your story, goddammit. Despite there being nothing to do, there's always something to do. Fishing, decorating, planting, rearranging things. Sometimes you just gotta let go and run around with a stick or something, because so far in 2020, running around with a bodybuilding kitten or a refined posh mouse is better than anything else available. All of that being said, it's not all rosy, alright? Enjoying a particular character, that's generally going to be up to your personal taste. But here's the issue, my aim. Can we work on the aim? A reticule, a spot, an aiming thing. My kingdom for an aiming spot that like Stardew Valley's got, something like that. And the fishing, while generally simple, doesn't come without frustrations. Honestly, it feels like they're screwing with me on purpose. I mean, look at this nonsense. And the next biggest gripe, by God, the crafting. Oh, excuse me, the DIY. Your villagers are obsessed with it. DIY is some sort of weird drug that's infested their brains. I'm not too sure what the aversion to the word crafting is about, but that's not really the issue. The issue is that I have to I have to do it myself, one at a time. Inventory management in general is just a goddamn mess. Want to craft a lot of fish bait? Be ready for a DIY marathon, all right, pal? Easily, one of the most fun things that you can do in this game that the other games in this video can't really rival is you could visit the islands of your friends or have them come visit you. You know, I'm sorry, is Pam gonna bus me down to Poontown anytime soon? No, I don't think she is. But of course, this is Nintendo, so everything online has got to be as big of a pain as humanly possible. There had to have been a simpler way to do this than stopping literally everything on your island every single time something happens. Throughout the course of playing, I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed almost all of it, but there's two things in particular that I've learned that are pretty much addicting. The first, and if you watched Fable, which of course you did, then you saw this coming, but I love the fact that you can piss off your neighbors. That's it.
My name's Steve, motherfucker!
That's it. I'm a simple man. Give me a chance to repeatedly hit someone that's mildly annoying with a bug net until they freak out. And I'm going to take that chance. The second thing, and honestly on the other end of the spectrum, is I am addicted to meeting new potential villagers. I blow so many Nook miles, just I want to see who's next. There were a few good candidates on this run here, but sometimes you just gotta listen to your gut. Especially when space is limited. Of course, this means that villagers can also leave your island. Needless to say, I wasn't exactly crestfallen when Paula left and Biscuit moved in. But it might not always work out that well, so be ready. At least her spaceship will always be here. Thanks for that, Paula. One good thing you did for me. Animal Crossing rewards you for giving into the game. There's no fun in just wandering around your island and ignoring everyone who lives there. They might be random as hell, but finding your villagers up to new or different things is part of the fun. The generally comforting nature of the game, being able to share things with your friends, along with more incoming content, is going to keep Animal Crossing at the front of our minds for a while longer, I think. But maybe instead of watching your village grow, you'd rather watch your crops grow. That brings us to Stardew Valley, a spiritual successor to Harvest Moon. No, the real Harvest Moon. For fuck's sake. Coded and composed by the one-man machine Concerned Ape, Stardew Valley offers a similar, but also completely different experience. Quitting the evil corporate job and escaping the burden of modern life is everyone's dream, at least when you only have to click on plants instead of physically plowing dirt. If you dislike the randomness of your villagers in Animal Crossing, then you'll be happy to know that in Pelican Town they follow weekly schedules, most of the time. Why aren't you in your store, Marnie? They all have backstories, wants, fears, not to mention everyone you can date has their own cutscenes, and there's some additional ones on top of that as well. So yeah, you can't date an anteater pop star. You can date any of the eligible bachelors or bachelorettes in the town here. As far as the villagers in general, you're gonna find a lot less general zaniness here, but you're gonna find a good range of age and a good mix of people just in general. They can range from very friendly to maybe a little more standoffish to a little more desperate to... You get the idea. There's a good amount of people. And more importantly, your perceptions of these people can change drastically the more you get to know them, for better or worse. Catching them wandering about the town or gathering at the bar on a Friday night, it's a good feeling. The routine feels good. Talking to them every day is a good way to get a stronger friendship, but with that comes a little bit of repetition. It's not blatant. And will only get tiresome the longer you play. It only comes up a lot if you really go out of your way to constantly talk to everyone, but it is noticeable. Of course, we should get it out of the way right now. Yes, you can bother and piss off the other villagers. You can even give them trash if you want. 5 stars. From what I can tell, only one of these cutscenes is completely missable. The first event for Sam here in the summer of year 1. This ties into what I said about Animal Crossing. For me, at least off the top of my head, it's pretty new to have a game that is following our current seasons and our current time. I think it's a good idea, but it does create some of that FOMO syndrome that Fortnite and every other game with a season pass is cashing in on right now in a big way. It could be your only chance to get whatever item or crafting thing or whatever it is. That's not necessarily the case in Stardew Valley or even Rune Factory. The seasons pass, things are exclusive to them, but they pass at the pace that you set. Even recipes that you could learn on the TV will repeat. So yeah, looks like maybe one missable cutscene in the game, not bad. These cutscenes will trigger as soon as you enter the area and have met all the requirements. The longer you get to know someone, the more you're going to learn about them. Leia here's got the positive attitude, but really, is that how that works? Is that how we should probably get to the farming. It's a big part of the game. Like I mentioned earlier, the crops available to you for your farm, that varies depending on the season you're in. Some seeds take longer than others, they can yield more profitable fruit, or they could be added as an ingredient to another product or maybe a food dish. And as you progress through the game, you'll find easier and more powerful ways of dealing with your farm and get those profits up. There's admittedly not a whole lot going on in winter, but that could be a great time to explore the mines or take care of some other jobs you've let fall to the wayside in the name of profit. Also, by unlocking the greenhouse, you'll be able to grow crops year-round in there, so that's nice. Unlocking the greenhouse and other valuable help can come from the community center, which is a great way to keep you focused on a few things instead of trying to do everything at once all the time, which can get overwhelming in a hurry. You could also go the Joja route, but that's pretty low. Even for me, which should tell you something. Joja exists for when you need something on a Wednesday, because Pierre inexplicably is closed on Wednesdays. I mean, it's almost worth it to watch Pierre fail miserably because you sided with Joja. Almost. And another thing with this guy. Of course, there's much more going on than the farming too. Fishing's a big part of the game, although it doesn't seem like it at first. There's a legendary fish for each season, and I think they can only be caught once, with the exception of the spring legendary fish, which can be caught multiple times. People will complain that the fishing in Stardew Valley is too difficult because they're a bunch of stupid idiots who can't handle tappa tappa tappa, which I of course would have killed for back in my day. But really, once you get the hang of it and get your skill up a little bit, you'll be keeping the fish in the bar no problem. You'll have some frustrations with legendaries or trying to catch treasures, but if it gets too tough, there's some foods you can use to boost your fishing stats. Fishing stats? What in the highfalutin nonsense is that? That's right, you have stats in this game. Pretty basic stuff. The more you do something successfully, the more it grows and you can get some nice perks along the way as well. There's dishes you can cook with your own crops and ingredients to boost some of these stats too. That's right. Ingredients. Good way to make money, whether it's placing a tapper on a tree or finally finding Marnie in her store and starting to raise your own livestock. There's no shortage of items and ingredients to use or sell. Some of these can be used to refill your energy or even your health. Your health? That's right. There's even combat in the game. And you can have a bit more go wrong for you than getting stung by bees in this game. And of course, nothing comes free, even help out of the mines. The mines are where you're going to find the overwhelming majority of conflict and combat in the game. Of course, they're also where you're going to find a lot of the necessary ingredients and valuables that you want. So where will your life in Stardew Valley take you? Will you start dating someone in Pelican Town? Even after marriage and expanding your home, you can have a little baby, though I don't think they do too much for your farm. At least not yet. There are some seriously gorgeous farms out there that people have painstakingly created, not unlike some islands you'll find in Animal Crossing. The game is still being updated, including the big multiplayer edition. I haven't tried it yet. I wonder if there's anyone out there that I've talked to about this game for years that I could play with. There's always more to do, it seems. You can head to the mysterious desert, there's backroom casinos, even unravel some family mysteries that honestly, I don't even want to put anything to sway you if you don't know, so just enjoy this footage of me hitting Paula with the net again instead. And still, there is another. Stronger, faster, weebier. This is Rune Factory. If you thought Stardew Valley was a souped up Harvest Moon, then you had better buckle the hell up because we're just getting started. Rune Factory 4 is the fourth game in the series that I know pretty much nothing about. It was originally released on the 3DS and then it was recently ported to the Switch, which is the version that I am playing. Right off the bat, you're not going to have the customization options that you have in Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley. You play as one of two preset characters, and other than what headgear you have on, doesn't really seem like there's much that you can change about them. Your royalty, you tumble into a land ruled by a dragon, or it's not important. What is important is that this is the deepest of these games, and it is so much fun to play, especially if you want a little bit more combat in this genre of game. I wouldn't be disappointed about the customization because the sheer amount of stuff in this game is staggering. It's a little bit less about what you can gather, kind of like Animal Crossing, and more about what you can create and how you can use it. With as much combat as there is in this game, there's stats for everything. Your ability to create weapons have stats, your weapons have stats, you can upgrade the stats, you can have stats for farming, you can have stats for the crafting, you can have stats for walking, for eating, for bathing. You want to farm right? Huh? You better check the stats of your soil. Yeah, that's right, even the soil has stats in this game. And while that's true to life, I haven't spent much time checking my soil with the magnifying glass. I do try to rotate crop plots though, even though I can't use my high-level fruit for completing veggie requests or harvest festivals that I won anyway with my carrots. Thank you very much. Give me my prize, Volcanon, you big baby. Much like Stardew Valley, you can also see how you're getting along with the villagers as well as your own monsters. These monsters can do a variety of things for you, from clearing up your field, giving you milk and eggs, or even fighting with you. Giving a monster an item will give them the stats of that item. I wish I knew that before I gave everything to the duck that I like but doesn't fight very well. The villagers in Stardew Valley generally have pretty rigid schedules, and if you know them, you know where to find them at any given time. I don't think that's the case in Rune Factory, and if it is, I haven't cracked the code quite yet. Thank goodness for that map that I use maybe 10% of the time, otherwise I'd never find anybody. And just like in Stardew, they have their likes, their dislikes, though it's pretty easy to get clues about what to give. And yes, don't worry, you can annoy them and give them things they don't like 5 stars! When you meet them for the first time, you can get a little video ranging from, a nice little thing to, As for are they enjoyable? Well, like all the other games, that's gonna be up to you. And I do like some variety, even if some of them are far more outlandish than Stardew Valley or even a tiger obsessed with tricep meat. I mean, for me, yeah, there's some total duds, but let's focus on the positives. Namely, my man Porco here. Look at this. Look at this. How could you not love this guy?
Good morning.
What is a hyper good morning? Look at it. This fucking maniac has food just falling out of his pockets. His rings are actually cupcakes. Is that a glass apple in his hands? He's incredible, and I love him. There's plenty of good characters like this. Chow Pai over here can't even say the word morning without screwing it up. So I think even if the general zaniness of them puts you off a little bit, there's bound to be at least a few people that you're still going to enjoy seeing. I'm approaching my first winter in Rune Factory, the final month of the first year, and I have yet to have any repeated dialogue from the villagers outside of greetings and thank yous. And yeah, it's not always earth-shattering stuff. But between the events of the main story, any events coming up in the town, or even random town events that can happen, there's always something to talk about. In Rune Factory, the seasons pass like Stardew Valley, at your pace, but the crops behave a little bit differently. Instead of being restricted in each season, the crops will grow more strongly in the correct season. And this is easy to manage, as you'll find certain fields in the large map that are always a certain season. Getting to these places is made easy by unlocking the airship, which also lets you fast travel from any of the many save points in the game. The same distinct areas can be found for fishing as well, not to mention a few more secret areas on top of that. Ready for some sandfish? The difficulty honestly falls pretty perfectly in between the fishing of Animal Crossing and of Stardew Valley. I've missed some big ones, but generally you won't have to fight the fish once hooked. The secrets in this game seem to be never-ending, whether it's a plant that can grow into a dungeon or finding some areas that you can't even access until you're there for a storm to clear the path. We kinda touched on it earlier, but in case you weren't sure, just like in Stardew Valley, yeah, you can date, marry, even have kids with some of the eligible villagers. In this game, I think your kid can even end up fighting with you at some point, which is a pretty cool addition, and to no surprise, taking things one step further once again. The combination of the deep stats, customizable weapons, and ongoing main story, and all of the other things going on make Rune Factory an absolute keeper in my book, despite the game not necessarily getting the same amount of shine as the other 2 games in this video. Having gone through all this putting this together, I can't wait to get back in the game, but then the actual schedule of Animal Crossing returns, and I don't want to miss a thing, at least not yet. That being said, I have so much left unexplored between crafting better equipment, getting married and the stories that follow in the marriage DLC, an entire 3rd arc of the main story. I know I'm going to be coming back soon to this one, and the good news doesn't stop there. Rune Factory 5 has been announced, and I think it's somehow still slated for a 2020 release. I'm brand new to the series, and honestly, I can't wait to see what it's going to be like. So which game is right for you? Well, if you haven't picked up on it yet, it all depends on what you're looking for. There obviously isn't a bad choice here. All three are amazing and deserving of a lot of praise. Sorry to those of you still waiting for I don't like thing. Really, you'll have to boil it down to what you want. Maybe you want combat or dating, or maybe you want to hang out and meet new people without necessarily having to worry about anything at all. The new Animal Crossing looks great. I love the rounded feel of the map and the looks of the characters. Graphically, it looks the best. But I've always liked pixel art and pixel games. Stardew Valley takes me back to the times when those games dominated. But even if you're not old like me, that style might have the right charm for you. I love the portraits and the videos of Rune Factory, and maybe that art style is right up your alley. I admit the sprites aren't always my favorite, but I think a lot of that comes from the fact that it's an older mobile port, and I'm really excited to see what Rune Factory 5 will look like. And for all you completionists out there, both Stardew Valley and Rune Factory have achievements for shipping every item in the game. Happy hunting! The music in all of these games is good, though I think I have to give the nod to Stardew Valley. The soundtrack's always bouncing me along my day, and, the quiet ocean breeze can be a nice respite as well. I also think I'm a little bit biased after hearing that it was all composed by one guy and done in a program that I've done a little bit of dabbling with myself. Some of the hourly themes in Animal Crossing are total bangers, but also some are a little too melancholy for my taste. I'm going digging with Biscuit, don't bum me out. Rune Factory is similar in that I really love some tracks and a few others are a little bit more forgettable. It's been so much fun to see the communities of these games come together recently, and there's been some pretty cool and inspiring designs, even for other really peaceful games, like Kenshi. And there's more on the horizon as well. I got my eye on some things. It's a genre that sounds like it could really only have one way of doing things, but these three games prove that you can twist and mold it to any relaxing, hardcore, crafting, farming, fishing, friend-making, date-making, exploration, having a huge hero arc, being a nobody game that you want. What they all have in common is that there's no wrong way to play. You want to make a bustling city island or have a bazillion ancient fruit wine kegs? Go for it! You want to ignore everything and go fishing? You could do that too. I don't play the min-max game or all of that, but maybe that's what you're looking for. No problem there, even though I think you're missing the point entirely. But it's your island or farm or kingdom. Run it how you want to. Maybe I'm the one who missed the point after all of this. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Every like and sub goes a long way. Sorry. And if you enjoyed this one, maybe check out one of these other videos that are absolutely not like this one in any other way. Thanks. Bye.